Welcome guys, sorry I can't make it to class today. We've got to do some notes on graphing. So we're going to look at the slope intercept and the point intercept form, and we're going to just put them on graphs this time. This should look extremely similar to what we've been talking about the past day. So if you look into this and you look at the the M value that we have here, and then we can go ahead and look at the B value that we have as well. We're just going to fill those in appropriately. Your slope is going to be 3/2. Your y-intercept is going to be 0, 3. Remember, I'd like you to write it in that form. And then all we're going to do is actually start with the coordinate point and then move in the direction the slope is telling us. So if we're starting at 0, 0, which is in the middle, we're going to move left and right 0. We're going to move up 3. I'm going to put a point there. Now your slope is telling you when it's positive numbers, it likes you to move upwards. And if it's positive numbers on the bottom, we're moving to the right. So remember, it's rise over run. Negative numbers would mean we're moving either down or to the left. So for this one, we're going to move up 3 to the right 2, put a little dot. I'm like a crazy person. I'm going to continue this pattern the entire way up. So I go up 3 to the right 2, and I also do it all the way downward. So what you can do is take a look at this equation here, and we can say, well, instead of using it as a positive over a positive, we could also look at it as a negative over a negative, because two negatives, once again, will make a positive. Thinking about that, from this coordinate point, I can go down 3 left 2, down 3 left 2, and I can repeat this action all the way through. For the sake of your exams, I'm only going to require that you guys actually make 3 dots for me and then try your hardest to actually make a straight line. I'm not judging you on your artistic abilities, but I am judging you on your ability to put these dots on there. So I want to see those dots, at least 3 of them at a minimum. Try to draw a straight line. And then the other thing I will ask that you guys do for me is please make sure that you draw your arrows all the way through both sides of the graph for me. That'd be amazing. Number 2, similar process, different numbers. So again, if we look at the actual formula here, we've got the M value, we've got our y-intercept. Slope should be the value of -2/5. Notice here, I took that negative and I threw it up in the top. That is actually the easiest way to approach that when that negative symbol is just sitting in front of the fraction. Move it to either the top or the bottom. I personally do prefer the top, but the bottom would work just fine as well. The y-intercept, 0. We have a negative number for -2. And then we'll go ahead and plot that starting intercept on the graph. Again, our slope now is mentioning that we'd like to go down and to the right. So if I go down to right 5, down to right 5, and then I'm going to again use the opposite values of these to indicate the opposite slope as well. We still end up with that negative value. This would mean go up to left 5, up to left 5. Try your darndest to connect some straight lines. And then once again, make sure that your arrows are going all the way through. Looks like we got 2 more examples of this as well. Third one's going to be very, very similar, just some slightly different numbers. If you guys notice, I changed the color palette up here a little bit, so let's see if the yellow shows up. If we look at the M value, we look at the B value one more time, my slope here is going to be the value of 3, or what I often write this as is a fraction, especially when it comes to slopes. It's easier to see that as the rise over the run. Your y-intercept is 0, -7. If we come down to our graph again, 0, -7 shows up right there. This looks like I'm going up and to the right, up 3, right 1. I think I need to adjust this yellow color because it is somewhat tough to see. Again, 3 dots is all I require, but I'm going to try and put them all on here. Please, again, make sure your arrows go all the way through. Last problem we have on here, you will notice that it's slightly different. The thing that is missing on this is it's not in the form of y equals mx plus b. That's how the easiest way we can usually graph lines. So we just have to kind of adjust it and move it to where it's going to go. So I'm going to rewrite this over here so we can do a little bit of math to it. First thing it looks like I'm going to have to do is add the x to both sides. Remember, write your x's first. Then I'm going to divide by the number we have in front of the y, the coefficient. Make sure all of your numbers are being divided. We end up with y equals 1/2 x plus 2. I sometimes like to box those answers because they're not really answers, but they're very useful information. Your slope should be 1/2, or again, you know this is going up and to the right. Or you could take the opposite version of that, which means it is going down and to the left. The y-intercept for this should be 0, 2. Let's take a look at this one. 0, 2 is right here. Up 1, right 2. Repeat until you reach the end. The other one would be down 1, left 2. Again, just find that pattern. Repeat it as many times as you can. Draw your beautiful straight line through the graph. And voila. Now on a test, I don't need you to highlight those endpoints. Again, I'm just kind of putting those on there to mention that I'm going to be looking for those on the test. So please make sure your arrows do go all the way through. Now we're going to look at the point slope form. Remember the difference I mentioned in class the other day? I said, hey, this slope intercept form will give us the slope and the intercept. The point slope form will give us a point and the slope. And either way, we're kind of starting somewhere and moving in another direction, no matter which of these forms we're using. So if we look at this, the thing that we have to recognize early is what the form looks like. These numbers right here are the numbers that are going to change from time to time. Everything else is going to stay the same. And so when we look at our point, the easiest way I look at this is the number closest to the y and the number closest to the x are the corresponding x and y coordinates for your points. Best way to think about it, you always, and I mean always, want to take the opposite of those numbers. I see a -3, I'm going to write a +3. I see a -6, I'm going to write a +6. The slope, the only number that is left right there, we're going to have that as 2. Or again, I will write that as 2 over 1. That is up 2, right 1. Or you can switch them. We can go down 2, left 1. Starting at 3, 6, looks like that should be right here. Up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. Rinse, repeat. Thank you, Notability, for giving us the straight line tool. Although I will say, I think I draw some pretty darn straight lines, even without the straighten tool. Is this the last problem? Look at that, it is. All right, you know what, last problem, we're going pink. Same thing, different numbers. We now have these 3 pieces of information that are very useful to us. If I'm going to use these, this is technically the y1 value, the x1 value, and the slope. Sometimes labeling those makes it a little easier to see. The coordinate point is the opposite of your, oh no, guys, I done messed up. Nobody told me, well, nobody's here to tell me. I didn't notice it until now. I wrote these in the wrong order. The x value probably goes where the x, oh my gosh, Mr. Nichols, okay. I'm going to come back. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to change a few things on this one. We're going to flip-flop these. Opposite of the x, opposite of the y. Here's the best part about this, guys. The slope isn't going to change. So all you've got to do is use your lasso tool. And let's just make sure that this, actually I'm going to do this real quick. This was our starting point right here. No, it wasn't. Oh my gosh, things keep disappearing. 6, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. I need that to be the new starting point. I thought the original starting point was 3, 6 was this guy. So I'm just going to make sure this lines up right there. So if you use your lasso tool, you can actually just wiggle this guy on down right there. And of course, make sure Your line goes all the way through. Okay, one fixed. Sorry, that was a big one on my part. I caught it on this next problem, but it was too far to turn around on the other one. All right, let's put the x values where they belong here. So the x1 value would be 4. The y1 value would be negative 3. Again, taking the opposites of those. Slope is the number you see. We're going down and to the right. Or you can take the opposite of both of those, in which we are going up and to the left. 4, negative 3. Looks like it's right here. If I go down 1, right 5, I should end up here. Up 1, right 5. Oh, I'm sorry, up 1, left 5. Up 1, left 5. Those are the only ones that will probably fit. And voila, we've got it. So it's a nice little recap of yesterday, and then adding a little bit of flair to it with the extra little graphing. For homework, you guys are working on today graphing worksheet number 3. If you wanted to take a look at it, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 problems. I will actually probably have you guys try all of these just because there is some really good practice in these. The first 6 are just graphing them. The last 6 are trying to find the slope intercepts for these. My hint to you guys, remember, if you want to write it in point slope form, you need to identify a point and a slope. If you want to identify this in slope intercept form, you need to find the slope and the intercept. The easiest way that you can find the slope when it comes to these problems is finding 2 points in which this line perfectly passes through one of the crosshairs that you see. And you can just simply count how many this goes up and how many this goes to the right. Hey, this goes up 3 and to the right 3. Guess what? Rise over run. My slope would be 1 for this problem. So that's the easiest way to graphically visualize what the slope is going to be for those last 4 problems. Awesome. If you guys have questions on this, bring them the next day because I will hopefully be back on Thursday. Sorry I missed you guys, and we'll see you Thursday.